Hello, Adam Drummond here from Waka Waka.tv, the online TV show about people and places, and I'm sitting with a young bloke who is at the moment on tour with Lawrence Mooney. He's an up-and-coming comedian who is only 20 years of age and yet almost a veteran because he's been doing it for 3 years. It is Stuckey. Thanks for being on the show, mate.
Thank you. I wouldn't call 3 years a veteran stay.
Don't sell yourself short. See, this is part of the whole process. You got to, build yourself.
I'll leave it to you to build me.
Okay,
up
I'll do that. I'll do
down.
that later. But a lot of it will depend on the way you answer in these questions. Mate, carved it up last night. Well done on a good opening act for Lawrence.
Yeah, it was great.
You've got a very, I've checked out some of your stuff on YouTube as well. You've got a very gentle sort of style about you. This is a deliberate track that you're going down when you find that persona that is the comic?
Yeah, a little bit. It sort of started for me with just being sort of a bit uncomfortable on stage. But I try to, and I think I'm more open and sort of like louder, and I say things more confidently than I used to. I used to be really sort of introverted on stage. But it's just something that sort of evolves over time, and eventually I'll find something that works for me for the long run, I guess.
I like it because that vulnerability, as someone sitting in the audience, you can relate to it instantly. Sometimes it's hard when there's someone who's too confident and you kind of don't gel with them straight away unless you already know them, like Lawrence. But then you've got this nice gentle demeanour, so I think it works for you, mate. And your stories of going over to Japan, I'm assuming they're true.
Yes, those ones are true.
Where you learnt the phrase book and picked up and...
Well, it's the interesting thing about some of those jokes is they're things that didn't... some of it's true. The thing about the phrase book, though, I just found a phrase book. I didn't need, there was just a phrase book, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if there was a dating section in the phrase book, and it just sort of came from that,
But going back, mate, you're 17 years old, so that's still school-aged, and you go... usually you try a few things out, a few careers first, and then you think, I'm going to have a stab at comedy maybe when I'm in my late 20s, as we just heard Lawrence say. 17, what was going through your head?
I just wanted to do comedy. I thought it was fun. I was like a fan of comedy, and then I found out that you could... It was basically just a situation where I found out that you were allowed to just do it, that you could just get up and do it.
You are allowed to speak publicly and say whatever you want.
I was like, well, that makes it easy, so I'll just give it a go, and then it sort of just stuck. I liked it, so I kept doing it.
And you've gone on tour with some of the bigger names in comedy, or is Lawrence your first tour?
Well, as far as tours go, Lawrence is probably the first tour, but in Canberra, I've opened for a lot of people, Greg Fleet and a few other people. Yeah,
Fleety.
Yeah.
What do you find you learn from these guys? Because you get a chance to go out and do your own stuff, and then you're obviously sitting either in the wings or in the audience and watching what works and what doesn't work. What's some of the biggest learnings you've got from these guys that are seasoned performers?
I don't know, like a lot of the people who've been doing it for a long time, they can just lose themselves in something, which I don't do as much. They have an ability to just throw material down for a bit and just talk about whatever's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, I think, something that is really good to learn, is to be able to just trust yourself to know what is funny.
For instance, if you're sharing the stage with a moth all of a sudden.
Exactly.
And you're doing a duologue with a moth on the spot. Unless that was a prop, I don't know, because because Lawrence's show, you just go, that is so seasoned. Is that a moth on a string that he's worked in?
That was one of my jobs, was to release the
moth
from
at the right
jar.
time. Yeah. When he's got a memory spot. Put the moth out, quick. I can't remember the next one. So what's your technique for learning your craft? Do you go out into a park and watch people with a notepad, or do things come to you spontaneously and then you record them? What's your process for getting your material together?
It's a little bit of both. It's either something, strikes you that's funny, I think is a thing that happens with a lot of people, just something about a thing that happens or a thing you're thinking about, you think that's funny, I should try and work on that. And sometimes if I'm stressed out and I feel like I haven't written for a long time, I just sit down and really force myself to write out stuff. But I find that stuff is never as good as the stuff that sort of just flows out of you when something, hits you, like when the lightning strikes. I think that's where, for me, it's really, a powerful thing. What's the litmus test for you? When you've written it down and you find it funny, who do you go to and test it out on and say, I'm going to go on stage now with that? Who's the first person? I usually just go to an open mic. I don't usually... You do? You just test it out there in front of the room? I don't really, unless that I want to talk to some other people about it to try and workshop it, because I don't think it's funny enough, but I think it can be. Usually I'll just try it out on a stage, and then if people laugh, I'll try it again, and if people don't laugh, if I still think it's funny and people don't laugh, I'll
Screw
try.
them.
Yeah, exactly. I'll
Screw them.
do it.
They're the ones with the problem, not
I'll
you.
try and get them to understand why it's funny.
Yeah,
the
explain
next
the
time.
joke to them. That always works.
Exactly. You don't understand, you see.
The bit about the banana peel.
Yeah,
it's funny
exactly.
because. So, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you in your career so far of stand-up?
Most embarrassing?
Yeah, where you've been caught with your pants down or something like that.
Well, I went to Adelaide Fringe this year with a group of comics, and we did 3 nights at this place, and we thought it was going to be okay. It was just 3 nights. I think the room was about 60 seats. We got we were at 5:30, so really early, and apparently too early for Adelaide. No one wants to come out. We got the first night.
They were in church. You got to wait for them to finish church.
First night we had 6 people. The second night we had a sellout show, and I was like, great, this is going to be awesome. We're going to have a sellout show. It's going to be fun. Got up on stage. It's all 65-year-old women and older.
Perfect.
And I go through my 20 minutes to complete silence. Just nothing.
What a way to pick up.
Because we had to finish out. I was the last act, and I had to get us to the 55-minute mark.
Yeah.
I couldn't just go, I'm done, because everyone else, that's what they did. They got 10 minutes in and were like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. And I got there, and I had to do it all. I had to do the whole set. I did, tried to get people in. The biggest laugh actually came from when I came on stage. I was like, that was a large applause break, and then a woman said, it's because we're hopeful. And everyone erupted, and then silence after that for the whole set.
So she was the funniest thing on the night.
Yeah, exactly. They gave her a standing O.
Oh,
but
great. Great. Well, she was your leading.
Yeah,
she was what you are on this tour at the moment. So one of the things that I learnt from this book of Rusty Berthas is that is very common, that when things go wrong, the comedian must see the set out. Not many people will just go, stuff it and walk away. There's a few. Have you read the book?
I haven't. No.
Dangerous situations with bikies and things where they've gone, no, we have to go.
Yeah, I have a few friends who've had run-ins with bikies that have been pretty dangerous.
Well, mate, all the best for your career. Before we go, I've got a little quiz. I like to do a quiz at the end, as you've just seen. Yeah. And my phone's locked, so we just have to do this little banter until it... And it's now come back up, so there wasn't too much required. But these are a lot simpler than Lawrence's questions. Yeah. So, okay, good luck with this. Are you ready?
Yep.
And you got to answer them fairly quickly. We don't want pondering.
Yep, sure.
All right, number 1. Bon Jovi or U2?
Bon Jovi.
Why? I'm only kidding. It's quick answers.
Okay,
number 2.
Because I can't justify that. I hate both of those bands.
And I try to pick ones that are universally hated. Anyway, apart from my wife, for some reason, she still loves Bon Jovi. Number 2. Children should not be allowed in fine dining restaurants. True or false?
True. Only because I've worked in fine dining restaurants.
Have you? Which one, McDonald's or?
Oh yeah, it was actually a KFC. No,
it was Zambrero, wasn't it? Were you talking about it?
Oh no, I did stand up in a Zambrero.
Oh, you did stand up.
That was probably the second most embarrassing gig I've ever done.
Right.
But no, they shouldn't be allowed there because they get in the way. They want to walk around.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing.
Well, this is the thing as a patron, and I'm a parent as well, but as a patron of a fine dining restaurant, you kind of have saved up for this night of peace from children. You don't expect to go there with children around you. So
exactly.
I agree, concur. That's the correct answer, by the way. Anyone who had said
the food anyway,
anyone who said false would have been in the wrong. Number 3, what would scare you the most if you thought it was under your bed? A clown, B, a witch, or C, Larry Emder?
Probably a clown.
Larry Emder is a clown. Clearly the clown is the scary. Yeah. Again, correct answer. There is right and wrong with these, you've noticed. Good. Number 4, if you were to be arrested by the police tomorrow, what do you think it would have most likely been for?
Tomorrow, it would be...
Don't implicate yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying
be careful with this
to
one.
Keep out the serious answers that probably I will get arrested for tomorrow.
Don't say possession or anything like that. Or hanging around parks.
Yeah, I think I would get arrested for...
being a nice guy.
Yeah, for
correct
being a lovely
answer.
man.
Well done. Yeah, because it's illegal to be that nice. Number 5, final question. Hang on. This is a question that came up in what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you. You might as well tell us about Zambrero then.
All right, let's talk about
happened there?
Zambreros. So I don't want to talk too much because what if I get in trouble from Zambreros?
What did you do?
So they wanted to do stand-up in every Zambreros in the country, right?
That's
was their
a zany idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. And they gave me and a friend of mine a call, or there was a call out on this thing, and then we got a call, and they asked us to do Waka Waka and Albury.
Yep.
And we were like, okay, great. We said, there's going to be a microphone, there's going to be all that stuff. They said, yeah, it's fine. We show up at Wagga, and they were like, oh, we were wondering if you guys were going to come. And they didn't have a microphone. There was no one in the Zambreros.
The one occasion there was no line.
Yeah, the one, exactly. There was one woman ordering food, actually, with her little child.
Yep. It's not fine dining, so that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. And she actually asked, I talked to the people who were working there afterwards, she asked, is this going to happen every, I think it was a Thursday, is this going to happen every Thursday? And they said no, and she said good, because if it did, I would never come back here.
That's just called instant feedback, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be on Twitter. Actually, now, before we go, I'm going to get Lawrence back in. Come back in, mate, and sit down for a second, because there's one thing that I didn't get a chance to talk about, and it's very topical at the moment. I know a lot of people are wondering about this. How is your mum?
I've crossed over into current affairs from comedy. Mum took a tumble on a travelator when a bunch of trolleys pushed by the Coles trolley girl became jammed.
Yep.
And then, the trolleys are jammed, but the conveyor belt of death is still, carrying people inevitably towards a collision.
It doesn't stop when when something happens. It's not like elevated doors.
So Mum's just kind of carried into the back of this girl who kind of is, trying to get and bumps her over, and she takes this fall, and I got CCTV vision of it, and it's pretty confronting watching your mum take a tumble. Hilarious, but
only a son could say that.
Yeah, she's 82, and to watch her fall down was pretty awful.
Yeah.
But she didn't get badly injured. But confidence at that age is easily eroded, and she's still shaken up. It's a month since then, and she rings me and says that she's having visions of the trolleys crushing her to death, and the trolleys weren't coming towards her. So yeah, I just she's okay. She'll be okay.
You just imagine the ballpoint pens coming out in the boardroom of the I don't know if we should say the company or not, but Coles. The boardroom.
Let me tell you, I've been briefed fairly extensively by editorial policy department at the ABC and the legal team. You can't defame a company. You can say Coles poison children, and you'll probably cut that out.
Just to be clear, they haven't, but deliberately. No, cut that out.
You can say whatever you like about a company. They can probably sue you on other on something else and make life difficult for you because they've probably got a huge legal team and a lot of money behind them. But you can't defame a company. If you were chasing them for recompense, it's probably not a good thing to slag them off because then their reputation would be called into account during the court case and you would be found to be a vexatious litigant and they would trample you. I did a bit of law.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That didn't come up on the CV that I looked at.
It's not funny or exciting.
Well, there you go. We got Lawrence Mooney, Harris Stuckey, two comedians. Lawrence has got a few more dates around town, and I think Harris is supporting him in Canberra as well tonight. So if you haven't seen this, you need to go out and catch Stupid Liar. It's bloody hilarious. It's 90 minutes of just non-stop laughter. See you next time.
See ya.
See ya.